Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are excited to have Dillon Loomis, the founder of Pinnacle Pursuit SEO. Dillon brings over 5 years of SEO expertise and a unique background as a PGA golf professional, having transitioned from the fairways to helping local businesses dominate search rankings. Based in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Pinnacle Pursuit SEO, founded in 2024, is transforming how businesses attract organic traffic and generate leads through tailored SEO strategies. We'll be exploring his founding story, how his business empowers clients like gyms and restaurants, and his vision for scaling this results-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Dillon, welcome to Founders Future.
Awesome. So glad to be here.
Absolutely. So happy to have you on. It's such a cool background. I definitely love doing some research on you there. So take us to the beginning here for our listeners, Dillon. What specific problem in the SEO landscape really inspired you to start Pinnacle Pursuit SEO?
Yeah, I started Pinnacle Pursuit with kind of a clear mission just to truly help businesses unlock their true potential with SEO, but really with transparency and really real business outcomes. Too often I thought that SEO felt like a black box. Companies were investing in it, but no idea really what was actually being done. Wanted to change that with really a ethical, measurable, strategy-driven SEO. So not just about rankings and things like that, but really focusing on what their end goal was, whether it's leads, sign-up, sales, things like that.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Being that you have that background in PGA and being a professional, how did that really shape your decision to launch an agency like this?
Yeah, just being background into the PGA, I did a lot of teaching, and teaching within itself is your own business. You have your own book of clients that you like to work with, and we really each swing working with someone, each person has a different swing and they have a different solution on trying to get them to hit the ball better. And really found that with SEO and other businesses, everyone's at a different stage and they have an end goal. Like some people have different swing paths. If you're familiar with golf, hit a drive, a slice, like they're trying to fix something. And so I found that similar with other businesses is they're just trying to increase brand visibility, or maybe they already have that. Maybe they already know how to hit a draw, but they want to learn how to hit a fade. And so maybe they're just trying to they have a brand visibility in the traffic, but they're not converting. So that's where I found the two to overlay.
Gotcha. I absolutely love that. And again, just incredible. I'm a golfer myself, living in South Carolina, so around some pretty big courses over here. So very cool. Definitely have to chat a bit more about that maybe on another episode. But walk us through right now, Dillon, how Pinnacle Pursuit SEO's offer has evolved since you started. So from what you're providing for these businesses to who you're serving, how's that changed since you first launched?
Yeah, I think when I first started, it was just obviously one of the things I've always been passionate about is just building trust with the clients and actually delivering on the results. And I found a big part of it is just open communication with them too. And I think that's something that I've found with other people too in some past roles is communication wasn't always there. And I think one of the things I pride myself on now is really communicating with them, really taking the time out of my day to make that phone call. Some people are always about meetings and stuff like that, but I think really jumping on a phone sometimes and just getting them on the phone and asking them a quick question about something instead of waiting an email is really shows that you really care about their business goals and things like that. But I think since I started it, some of the things have changed a little bit. There's somehow how I deliver on things, deliverables and stuff like that. But one of the things that's still important to me is just the aspect of reporting and making sure that they see the results and the stuff that we are doing.
Absolutely. I love that side of things. So being that you're really getting yourself launched into this space a year into it now, what's a misconception that you're hearing about the SEO industry as a whole, Dillon, especially around its value to local businesses or its complexity? What's something on that front that you can address for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception that people have is, and I don't know how people are out there on LinkedIn and stuff like that, SEO is dead is a big thing that's going on right now. It's changing with the impact of AI, and people are saying GEO or generative AI, search engine optimization or answer engine optimization. There's so many different ways. I just don't think that SEO is really dead. I think that if that's you want to consider a misconception, it's just evolving. It's getting more impactful and different. And it's just have to change your strategies. But I think too is it's one of the big misconceptions that people always have, and I always stand by it too, is that SEO just isn't about rankings or traffic and can't deliver results overnight. It's a long game. It's about building durable compounding value that pays off. And it really, I think when I see success, when you really tie SEO to like the real business KPIs, and that can be one of the biggest powers for growth.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So let's get into the nuts and bolts a little bit on Pinnacle Pursuit for our listeners here, especially because some of our listeners may end up coming to you and being that SEO is so important in business. So walk us through how you're generating revenue today as far as the core offer goes. I know you have the tailored SEO strategies, the audits. How do you structure that for your clients when they come to you?
Yeah, you're saying like when they come to me with a plan or like they want to
First when they first come to you and want your services, what can they expect to see as far as your offer goes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things that I always like to start with, even before I call it like a discovery call. Let's get to know you, you get to know me, I get to know you, your business a little bit better. And from there, it's really just me. I've been told on a couple of discovery calls, I'm the question master. I sit there questioning them, but it's really me just trying to get information about you. And it's simple. Have you worked with SEO before? What do you measure your SEO campaign? What would be success to you SEO wise? What's your budget? Do you have who's the point of contact? It's really just all of the basic stuff. One of the other things is what's your customer acquisition? What does that cost? So if it's e-commerce, how many things do we need to sell to get you ROI on my services and stuff like that? Whereas like real estate could be different. If you land one client, you're making tens of thousands of dollars from one person coming to you and you selling and representing them and selling their home. So it's really just understanding that kind of aspect of it. From there, when I first started Pinnacle Pursuit, it was referrals and stuff like that. And a lot of people didn't have budgets, and I still do it today sometimes, is more as just a consulting route where, if I lay out the strategy with my knowledge and stuff like that and give them ideas on what I would do. And here is how I would make updates to your pages or create new pages or optimize your Google business profile and stuff like that. And that's still some things I do today. Otherwise, it's just on a monthly retainer and you do ongoing efforts and hit the more impactful SEO items first, and then just adjust the strategy as we move further along.
You just mentioned a little bit there on acquisition and what's working well. So you're saying that referrals, word of mouth is something that you see a lot. What else is really working well for bringing in new clients for Pinnacle Pursuit, whether it be you're running ads or you're doing social media on that organic side, outreach? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'd say most of my no ads. I've never ran ads for my business, which I'm just happy about. I don't need to spend money. I think one of the big things was just the beginning was referrals, reaching out to past people that I knew just to not take advantage of the situation. But like when I was in the golf pro, I was at a pretty prestigious country club, and a lot of these guys are successful entrepreneurs as well, and really had a good relationship with them when I was teaching and really built that, really got to know them, which I think was really good in my benefit years back then, but I was obviously connect with them on LinkedIn and had their information. So I reached out once I started this and got my foot in the door that way. And then from there, it was just other people hearing about me from past jobs that I had. Try to really just write free content. So, just stuff on LinkedIn, try to get people that way. Free content on the website, just in articles, stuff like that. So I can increase my own website's SEO.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the main things that have been really successful for me so far.
Beautiful. I have so many guests on the show, so many other founders and business owners, and a lot of them that have that kind of referral word of mouth as a main piece there, obviously struggle with that predictability with getting leads. And is that something that you think about? And how do you think about solving that predictability issue moving forward?
Yeah, I think I definitely hit a wall with referrals. I think your list eventually runs out because you only know so many people and stuff like that. But some things about me that has helped is just reading more books on how to get more leads and stuff like that. And so there's so many different ways to do it. You can do the cold outreach, just some warm pitching and stuff like that. Currently in the works of, I'm only been a year into this and already have a small book of business, but re-optimizing my website to have a lead magnet providing value, getting people in the door that way, building an email list and stuff like that. Because I don't think SEO is one of the things that people are they're ready to convert right then the first time they meet with you. I think it's an ongoing thing. So I think just continuing to do optimizations to your website. I know some people do the cold email campaigns and stuff like that. But yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So as far as I know, you're a year in now and you have a wonderful thought process and passion for what you're doing here. What does the sales process look like, Dylan? Are you just running the show completely by yourself here as far as the sales and marketing and everything, or do you have a team with you? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, as of right now, I've been pretty fortunate just to, and it's just me, myself, and I right now. Um, yeah, I've been doing everything from the content strategy to doing the client work to doing stuff on my website. And I think one of the things I first got told when I got started is the first 6 months are going to be probably one of the hardest things. And don't get me wrong, there were days that you're not going to have, it's not all sunshine and, over here, but I think there were some days that were better than others and some days were worse. And I always told myself too is I work when I feel motivated. I find myself if I'm not motivated by whatever, my work is going to reflect that. I always work when I feel good. And if I do work till 8 o'clock at night and I think that's enough, I have to really praise myself, just give myself grace and say, you know what, you did your best today. And that's what I can do. So, yeah.
And I think that's the beauty in what you just said there. And hopefully our listeners are really tuning in on that part is just the drive, right? You want to have that drive, especially in business. So many people get into business to get away from the 9 to 5, but then get into the business and they're like, man, this is a lot more work than a 9 to 5. So I think that there's a lot of beauty in what you said there of really just having that drive, that passion, and just that work ethic to continue to show up every single day, continue to work and build and scale, knowing that what you're doing is really providing quality for your clients and just incredible on that front. And so now, Dylan, talk to me a bit about where your mind is. I have a good inclination with a bottleneck, especially around that lead generation side. But what would you point to right now as something you're thinking about and trying to solve as a bottleneck, whether again, lead generation, converting those leads into clients, delivering on the fulfillment side, especially being on your own? What's something that you're thinking about on that front?
Yeah, and then if I go back to your last question, I did think of something for the other people that are just, there are listeners out there that are wanting to start their own thing. And maybe you do lack with motivation on finding what is the end goal? Like, why am I doing this? What do you think I'll see success? One of the things that have helped me is create a vision board, create something that like you can look at almost every day, whether it's in your office or maybe your background or computer, whatever it is, a vision board on like where you picture yourself and what you hope to get out of life and in general. And like if you want to live on the mountains and you want to be like a ski person or you want to do whatever your goals are, I think that can help with motivation if you can see that every day. But to go back to your other question about the bottleneck, I think, yeah, one of the things I've struggled with was just sometimes I get people with the inquiries and then I don't really come from a huge sales background. So that's one of my weak spots and really just being the confrontation about pricing or stuff like that. And really, especially in the beginning level of a business is you just take the business as you come. And as later you can raise your prices a little bit, be a little bit more competitive. And it's okay to say no to some people. So that adjustment was a little difficult to be like, hey, this is my price. And if you can't afford me, then that is what it is. Whereas I still feel like some days I'm like, oh, you know what? That's okay. I can bump down to that budget just to have you as a client, but then it becomes almost too much work now that I make. What did I sign myself up for? Know your worth and know where you're at. And I think that'll help out.
No, absolutely. I think you hitting the nail on the head there is really just bringing in what you know you can do and the quality of work that you're providing, and then just staying aligned with that. And I think that's another powerful statement you're saying there. So truly a pleasure having you on the show so far, Dylan, saying some incredible things that I know our listeners are going to walk away with a lot of value there. Paint a picture for us here, Dylan, as far as what you're focused on priority wise for growing Pinnacle Pursuit over the next 6 to 12 months, whether that be any specific revenue targets you have in mind or impact goal. What are you really laser focused on over the next year here?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be really building a more predictable kind of like inbound engine, making sure that I'm really getting a lot more leads and people coming to me and stuff like that. I think right now, right at the beginning, it was pretty sparse, people getting referrals and then my client work. And I was dropping another part of the business. I was like, oh, I wanted to write that article and get it published and stuff like that. So as I continue to grow, I think it's also, especially as an owner, you start wearing all of the hats, doing the content. If you're running paid ads, you're probably setting that up yourself unless you know someone. But doing basically everything, all the client work. And I think eventually where I'd like to be is having outsourcing a little bit of that stuff and not being the handler of everything, whether that's working with a content writer for my blog website, working a website developer to do some stuff for my website. And I think too, especially as an owner, it might be hard to let that go because it's what you started with and it's now your baby, if you will, but letting go of some things can really help you grow, I feel like. So that's where I'm going in the next year. So I hope so.
Absolutely love that. Let's get a little hypothetical here, Dylan. Let's bring a genie into the room, snap our fingers, and provide you with unlimited resources at your fingertips. What are you implementing immediately into Pinnacle Pursuit for its growth?
Yeah, that's a really hard one. I think there's a way that you could really, I think like I said, LinkedIn has been nice to me. If I had all the time to be posting my ideas and stuff like that, knowledge like that every day, I think from what I've heard, it really helps with the algorithm, stuff like that. I think too is I like when people come to me organically and I'm not being this person in your inbox emailing you multiple times, because I think that really means a lot that they come to you when you find that mutual relationship. So I think it would just be, if I had a genie, I think I would say, hey, can you make a day 48 hours instead of 24? For more time to do stuff throughout the day. There's client work, but I think it would be more like just content, whether it's on my website, more resources, stuff that you can use, whether it's a custom Looker Studio or just a downloadable PDF of some sort or content for LinkedIn and stuff like that. I think that's what I would do, but I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff I'll think about later.
Yeah, just really just continue to build the brand, continue to get your name out there and growing, and again, actually establishing that inbound system and bringing more quality and just make sense across the board with the way that you're picturing it and the way that you want to continue to grow Pinnacle Pursuit. So, as far as what you're seeing in the industry itself, for the SEO industry as a whole, what are you seeing for the evolution of the industry in the coming years? And what are you truly doing right now to position yourself on the forefront of that with Pinnacle Pursuit?
Yeah, I know that's a good question. Someone actually just asked me that something similar the other day. I was like, hey, if you had to give a TED talk tomorrow, what would your topic be on? And I think it's going back to what I mentioned earlier, is SEO really isn't going away. It's changing. It's really reshaping how people search. And I think it's all about really top of the funnel queries and stuff like that are going to be going away. So not really focusing on that type of content anymore. It's really going to be getting found in LLMs and AI overviews and stuff like that. But I think really just focusing on building your brand is really going to be important. So some of the things I've been focusing on my client and a lot of stuff is a lot more to get featured up in the chat GPT and stuff like that, is being writing content and having information for a more of a personalized answer. So really think about a blog like an FAQ section where it's pretty specific on what they're searching for and maybe have questions about. So those are some things I'd be focusing on more. Yeah, I think it's just to say SEO is getting more difficult and it's just eliminating like mediocre marketing. That makes sense.
And it definitely makes sense with AI and how much it's growing, and just every day so there's a new innovation that's coming out, and people are using, again, ChatGPT, X, all the different types of AI out there right now instead of Google. So it is definitely a changing culture, and very cool to hear how you, being a founder of the company, is thinking about how you can innovate. So again, just more gold there for our listeners, especially the business owners, to continue to implement and innovate in their businesses with all the changes that are happening. So I want to take us into a bit of a lightning round here, Dylan, especially around a tool or a resource that you're using right now, whether it's an SEO tactic, a lesson from your PGA days, or an AI tool. What's been a game changer for Pinnacle Pursuit thus far on that front?
Yeah, game changer for my business, I'd say, I don't know if there's a tool or resource. I guess if I could change it to maybe just like really having just processes, I guess. I say really having really streamlined processes on like how you do things and how you can write a blog, how you onboard a new client and stuff like that, because that's really going to help you scale too, I feel like, when you can hand off those responsibilities. But I don't know, it might sound really cheesy, but I think some of the tools that I really use almost every day and stuff like that is Google Sheets. I know it's not like more glamorous, and I use it all the time for just keyword performance. Project ROI. I use it for tracking my internal finances and revenue, and use it to integrate reports with my Looker Studios and stuff like that. I feel like it's underrated in certain ways if you know how to use it. And going back to my college and PGA days, those were some of the things that I used it for, and it paid off now.
Love it. I love it. And then just one more question for you, Dylan, before we wrap up. And this one's for our listeners. Being that you've seen so much success in life, again, being a professional golfer, one of the hardest things you can do. So just incredible being able to achieve that, and now founding a business and doing what you're doing and having the passion that you have. what kind of advice can you offer to our listeners, other entrepreneurs and business owners who are either just starting out or in the middle of it and want to have that success that you're having? What can you offer them before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've always leaned on, and even though it's still a cliche today, is quality over quantity. I take it back to my PGA days, and it's not a matter about how many golf balls you hit, it's about how you take that practice session. I could hit 1,000 golf balls. I'm not really focusing on like a goal or like a my swing mechanics or some kind of outcome of something. It's basically you're just wasting time. So I still focus on today. I really focus on quality. So quality content I'm putting out, quality relationships and trust building with my clients, being really transparent, trustworthy. So I still take that to today. I'm not worried about quantity, throwing out 1,000 emails a day to some people that I don't know, hoping that I maybe win 1% of the business or something like that. And then I think too is if you're don't burn yourself out, it's so easy to get burnt out. And I think taking care of yourself is one of the most powerful ways to take care of others. And if you're burned out, your business will be too. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. With that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Dillon, just want to thank you so much again. An incredible journey so far. Truly appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your insights. I know you're going to continue to do some incredible things. I know I'll be following along, and I know a bunch of our listeners will be reaching out to you as well. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Pinnacle Pursuit SEO at pinnaclepursuitseo.com for their free SEO audit, and follow Dillon on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Dillon-Loomis. For more resources and insights, visit closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.